Comic Timing is member supported by listeners like you over at patreon.com/comic timing. We thank you very much for your continued support of the show. For as little as $1 a month, you get stuff like behind the scenes access, occasional articles by Chris Naudis or myself or Raph if we have the time, diary entries, extra audio, extra video. No, you're not going to get the extra video of Raph trying to figure out his settings earlier today, but next time maybe I'll record it. Plus a whole lot more from there, and we thank you very much for that continued support over at patreon.com/comic timing. One-time donations are also available over at paypal.me/IAM sci-fi. Hey there, folks. My name's Eden Levinstein, and welcome to episode 284 of Comic Timing. It makes sense that it's episode 284 because there's two people who were born in 1984 in this call. So I'm one of them. I'll introduce the other one, the guy who I just saw yesterday. Stop following me. It's Raph Suhu.
Hello. Something about us doing this for 20 years and we're both the same age and
boy, are our arms tired?
Something like that.
Yeah,
something witty. I don't have it today. Sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Let's hope he has it. The actual co-host of the show, Brent Cassina. Brent, do you have it?
I don't have it.
Damn it! Well, perhaps the guest does. Unfortunately, the sensei of whatnot is unable to join us today, but instead, we do have another sensei. He is Sean Whelan, Dr. Norge, lovingly still in our hearts, the one and only Raging Bullets host himself, joining us for this episode. What's going on, Sean?
Thank you for having me here, guys. I'm looking forward to this one. This should be a good conversation.
You better believe it. Yep. Since we know ahead of time that we are wordy bitches, we have decided to split this one into two separate recordings. So we're going to do the first of the Superman, Spider-Man crossovers, the DC branded one in this particular episode. And then hopefully we'll be able to have Jim involved with the second episode, which will be this one, which since I have the physical copy, I may as well hold up. And that is the Marvel branded Spider-Man, Superman. You see, that's how you tell the difference. The lead character from that particular company comes first on the one that one published, and the other way around for the other. Isn't that delightful and smart of them? And these things are monsters, by the way. Like both of them are 64 pages a piece or something like that.
Yeah, they're pretty hefty.
For a wonderful, delightful price of $7.99 before discount. Sometimes it hurts to be a comic book fan. It really does. But you know, that other times it's fine. But the fact that we've now gotten up to $8 comics for things like this kind of hurts me inside a little bit. But well, you physical folks like you, Sean, you still get to deal with this on a regular basis.
I do more digital than physical these days, but
oh really? Okay,
yeah.
good.
Well,
good.
It depends though. I do like, so I will admit this one was particularly painful because I do get into alternate covers.
Oh yeah,
because I like to frame them. I like to meet the artist, get them signed, and frame them and put them up in the basement.
Yeah.
So there's certain covers that I will grab with intentional purpose, and this, both the Deadpool stuff, the Deadpool Batman stuff, and this had some intriguing covers.
Yeah, they did, and they know their audience. Let's put it that way. Like their audience are the people like you that are very interested in, getting as many copies of this as possible because of the intrigue of the crossover here. Not to mention they got some excellent artists involved with it. You can pick and choose. Some of them are the same price as the A cover. Others are the retailer exclusives that are probably triple the price. But for the most part, you were able to get a decent amount of the covers for the same prices as retail. So that worked out nicely with that. Brent, which cover did you roll with?
I have the Jim Lee one.
Nice.
I was when I was looking at this, I wanted the Kubert one, the Daredevil Green Arrow, but either it was gone at the shop I go to or it was not ordered. I have no idea.
Okay.
And I went there at like 4 p.m. on the Wednesday. So where would it have been? I don't know.
I mean, either
On eBay already. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, either somebody got to it first, or they just straight up didn't order enough to begin with, which is very possible.
Yeah, they did something at my shop where they put them all, like, they have a glass counter where you check out at, and they had, for all 4 of these crossovers, they had all the covers underneath. Because I was walking to the wall, I'm like, where the heck's the big crossover that everybody's here for today? And they're like, it's under the glass. So you go under there, and it's like Uncut Gems, and he's like, which one do you want, Consta? I'm like, let me see that one.
Yeah, when I went to get the Marvel crossover, that was Free Comic Book Day, as I've discussed on other episodes of Comic Timing already, and they still had like 3 or 4 of the covers available for that particular one, and the DC one they still had like 1 or 2 of, but the fact that the DC one was available on Infinite already, and I know that like I don't really collect that many comics these days in physical form, I decided to bite the bullet and just get the one, which is fine because then it's like I only spent $4 a piece on these 2 comics rather than $8. Since I already paid for my annual subscription on Infinite, I don't consider it a new cost. Money, baby.
I got the A covers for both the Batman ones, the main ones, and I'm like, let me get something different.
Yeah.
Although I do like how they list, at least the A cover lists all the creators, and these variants don't list anything.
That's true.
I was wishing, because DC's done it recently, they did it with like Hush 2, and they did it with the first Batman issue. They've been releasing these oversized, like tabloid sized. I was wishing with these that they'd have the option to buy it, just because Batman Hulk, when I was a kid, was like something that I read through and destroyed. Because of how many times I read through it. I just would love to have these in that large, oversized format, just because of how fun they are. Because we don't get this is not something that I don't know. I didn't think we were going to get one of these again, much less 2 of them, and get Deadpool, Batman, and all of that. So it's nice that they're playing nice right now with each other. And we're getting the chance for some of this geek out stuff, but I would have liked it in like a larger format. I tend to like larger formats more than anything else.
Well, the facsimile editions that came out of the ones from the 70s were in actual size of what they were when they were released in the 70s. So yeah, I could easily see them putting out perhaps a couple months down the line a quote unquote deluxe edition that is tabloid size, what you're talking about. But that's after they've already built you $8 for the regular size. Like I get that one they could charge you $12 for a couple months down the road,
and I'll buy it.
Sean, that's really expensive wallpaper.
I'm admitting that I will buy it. So it's I am part of the problem. I admit it.
You could buy multiple copies and put them as wallpaper on your bathroom wall and just read from left to right, left to right.
Exactly. You're not presenting it with a problem here, except for possibly with his wife. I mean, after a while there, it might be all right, but maybe a little too much here. Let's roll off. Yeah.
Why is this shot of Gambit right in front of my face, Sean?
As long as it's not the bathroom she uses, she'll be fine with it.
Oh, there you go. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah.
Why is the door always shut?
You don't want to look in there.
I mean, look, you've got a tabloid addiction, and Raph's got the holofoil addiction. Going back to the '90s and getting holofoil editions for things that were never holofoil in the first place.
No, I will admit I've got an absolute addiction. So, admittedly, if they could just leap from this to an absolute version with collecting all of it, if they somehow can play nice together and just collect everything in one nice volume for me. That is absolute size. That's really what I want.
No, you're going to get 2 separate hardcovers.
I'll buy that
to buy.
Although, as long as it's absolute size.
I do hope that at some point they put out an absolute edition of Absolute Batman, just so we can have absolute Batman. I think that would be great. Like,
as Raph said on last episode, absolutely.
And every episode since the Absolute line came out, essentially. And he got me doing it because I was hearing myself do it on the last Review Corner episode. I'm like,
yes, I heard that
word out of me. Oh man,
I would ask I would ask AI to scrub all of our episodes audio to find out which one he says more, absolutely, or my parents are dead. But unfortunately, AI is not that good.
No, it's not. Yeah,
At this
the my
point-
parents are dead thing dropped off after a couple
After
of
7
years.
years.
Yeah,
It was only like
years.
7 years.
I know.
Maybe 8.
I know it would win. I just want the number. I want the number.
No, well, you know what's even better is every time anyone says the word absolutely, I only think about what we do.
Well, let me absolutely bring it back to the topic at hand here, and talk about the companies playing nice. That this is definitely a new development. Over the past couple of years, whether it be those currently in charge, or whether it just be the powers that be who actually own the companies themselves, have been talking to each other for the first time in years. During the Quesada de Dio years, there was forced rivalry for really no reason, because there's plenty of artists and writers that would go from one company to another because they didn't have an exclusive contract and would work month to month, and they would gladly play in each other's sandboxes if given the opportunity.
That was the exclusive wars, though, because one guy would leave from the other, and they'd sign him to an exclusive really fast.
Right.
I don't know that they're doing that anymore.
When he says exclusive wars, he makes it sound like a crossover. I mean, it's
I remember being in college listening to freaking Raging Bullets and going on Newsarama and seeing so and so signs exclusive contract.
You're right.
Nick Spencer.
It was a headline. That's the only reason I knew about it.
Alex Ross.
and it was
exclusive wars.
It was a big deal.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. And these days, like the only real one of note that's happened recently is probably Philip Kennedy Johnson, just because he signed an exclusive contract with Marvel recently, so he's finishing out his DC stuff and is going to be with them for a couple of years. Bendis had one a couple of years ago, but that's not the case anymore. And yeah, you're right. That is kind of like died off a little bit, but I do think that it was a regime change that also changed the opinion on these type of crossovers. And it's just a friendlier atmosphere now between DC and Marvel than it was a couple of years ago, at least when it comes to the comic books, which is why we were able to get something weird like Deadpool Batman a couple months back, and now finally, Superman Spider-Man. But I'm curious what your guys' takes on again, this friendliness being the case, and also if you have your dream crossover that may theoretically come down the road that you'd like to see them throw out there that's not JLA Avengers, because it happened already.
They'd reprint it again.
They
a full print run.
I know. I think we'll get that actually once the
facsimiles are done. Yeah, I think you're right.
Once the facsimiles are done, if they can figure out who where the rights go and also who's printing it, then we'll get a higher print run on that than we're currently getting. But yeah, Sean, you have any grails that you're hoping may come out through this new partnership?
I don't. I think more what I want than anything else is just creative talent who have a great idea and they're supported in it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's to me, there's in these, and we're going to talk about it. There's a lot of fun stories. I enjoy when you get these like big epic stories that are memorable and stick with you and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've got some great creative talent in comics now.
Yeah.
And I'm much more interested in what is their dream project and letting them go with it and letting us see it come to fruition. Mm-hmm. I'd also like to see it, if they keep playing nice, bleed out somewhere else.
Yeah.
Either into video games or into film or television in some capacity. And I think that's going to be a lot harder to see happen. Because of everything we're talking about as far as money exchange and who gets what.
Mm-hmm.
But I think as far as brand awareness nowadays, because I think it will bring people to comics, they've got to branch outside of the comics in order to bring people in. So playing nice, I think hopefully will lead to other things. Even if it's cameo appearances and if they're doing the next Injustice game, can we get Spider-Man in there or something like that? That's that kind of stuff I'd love to see, just because I think it would be cool. But that's more of my dream than anything else, is this playing nice, blending out more into other medium. Just as kids, I've got my Migos behind me and stuff like that. Or that way, yeah. The opposite of that, yes, that way.
Yeah, exactly.
But
left to right never makes any sense when you're on Zoom.
It's the Wayne Foundation, and there's all kinds of craziness going on up there, including a Stanley up on the top. Mm-hmm. So that's as kids, as people who like to escape into this medium, we always have those dream crossovers, and I've still got covers from Deadpool Batman sitting on my wall where they did that Wolverine, kind of cover, facsimile and stuff like that up there, or, tribute.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see just them do more of this kind of stuff and surprise me with the things I'm not expecting.
Well, I do hope that there was the day that we're recording this, there was a bit of a shakeup at Marvel Comics that Brad Winderbaum is now taking over basically the publishing arm as Dan Buckley is leaving the company after 30 years, and I think this may actually help, not hurt, this type of situation, because everything I've been hearing about Brad Winderbaum is that he is a huge comic book fan. And it's nice to have executives that understand the business, and playing together helps the business. It does not hurt it. Sales for these comic books have been ginormous, and it hopefully that will sustain both Marvel and DC in the long run, and maybe get a couple of eyes to the comics that haven't been there before. But either way, it doesn't hurt to play nice. It really doesn't.
I just worry about a guy like Dan Buckley who understands the publishing business for 30 years, disappearing or retiring, whatever the case may be, getting laid off, who knows, for a guy who does not know this intimate publishing business.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think there may be, some headaches coming their way.
We'll see, man. I mean, either way,
I know they have individual division heads, but
no, I know. I personally feel like, outside of these type of crossovers, Marvel has been hurting a little bit when it comes to the comics. And we've talked about that even on recent episodes, where it feels like they needed some sort of shakeup, whether it be in the executive arm or whether it be in the talent pool or what have you, to try and inject some life back into it. Because frankly, DC's been kicking their butt for the last couple of years, in my opinion. Like,
I was just going to point that out, is that this is the first time since these crossovers started with the original Superman, Spider-Man, that I think Marvel isn't the big dog.
Yeah.
I mean, culturally, Marvel is still the big dog because they have a multi-billion-dollar, universe, and they have multiple video games, including Marvel Rivals, out right now. But like DC, in terms of the publishing arm, is destroying Marvel. And so it's kind of interesting that Marvel's like, hey, do you want to collab, DC? And because now we're number 2, and it'd be great if you want to collab. And they don't have that same attitude and approach that they did in the Quesada era too, because I don't think, because if Quesada was around right now, I don't think he would be gloating and doing all the stuff that he did in 2000 when Marvel was on top.
I don't understand what it took them this long for, honestly. Like, there had been a glut, or not a glut, a drought is the right word, right, Mr. English teacher? I forgot what Sean taught. Sorry, Sean. He's probably an
English
counselor.
I did go to school to teach English, but I don't teach.
Yeah. No, but there's been such a drought of this type of thing forever that now it seems like, this is something that people want to see, and it's cool. And I like the idea of just doing 2 per calendar year. That's enough. We don't need to drown everybody in endless crossovers.
I'm going to agree with you to a certain extent, but what I wouldn't mind seeing is a multi-part story.
Yes.
But to your point, I actually like where you're going with this, and I agree with you 100%. Sometimes less is more. Like, if you do a multi-part story, give it a little bit more time to breathe then between them, so that way I don't feel this doesn't need to become shovelware. Like, let's put these out, make them exciting, make them interesting when they come out. Let it breathe a little bit, but I wouldn't mind seeing, we talked about JLA Avengers, I wouldn't mind seeing somebody who came up with a really strong crossover that had multiple issues where we got like some story depth, some character development, got to see some more deep interactions between the characters, because there's a number of these stories that have concepts that, given a chance to really run with them, could have been really interesting over like multiple issues.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see that, but I agree with Brent. Like, don't do too much. Like, keep these special, so that way when they come, we're excited about them. These felt like a genuine surprise. It felt like we hadn't had them in a long time.
Yeah.
And that made even what would be considered the weakest story one where it was like, this is fun. And I think that happens when you've had like a lot of time between this, where you'll give a lot of leeway to stories.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and a few of those stories did feel like they were leading to pages that we simply didn't have the space for. That they were leading to a story that exists in the ether that we may or may not ever get. Like the Marvel one, we'll talk about that next episode. But that Wonder Woman, Jane Foster, Thor story.
Yes.
That sounds badass, but we're probably never going to get more than the bit that we got out of it. But still, stories like that are there and could easily wound up being told in one way or the other. In this one in particular, we had that the 2099 story that I thought was great. So yeah, like given the time to build it out and do something with it, we could definitely make these things happen more often and have there be stories to be told in one way or the other. So
I do have a dream crossover. It would only be a backup story because it's not big enough, but it would be called Hooded Menace. It's a crossover with Moon Knight and Azrael.
Oh, I have two.
Oh,
I have two for you.
I would read a 4 or 6 issue miniseries with that.
but I would want somebody just to write like a 6-page story about which one of them, maybe Mixelpidlick or whatever shows up, and they're just having a competition of like who is the most morose hooded superhero. I'm more depressed than you.
Oh my God!
Which Azrael?
Gene Paul Valley, of course.
Oh yeah. The OG.
I agree with you. I was just asking.
Yeah.
I know Michael Lane is back in continuity somehow. He's not dead, but we'll see where that goes.
Oh my God.
So,
yeah.
For me, I had two in mind. I forgot what the second one was. It just exited my head. But obviously, we're going to take two of the greatest, most underutilized characters from both universes. And we're going to have the greatest crossover ever with Darkhawk Azrael.
Oh no.
That has to happen.
No.
It is the ultimate 90s nostalgia. Only 90s kids will care about this.
Yeah.
Not a single person under the age of 34 will
You got to have a hook. There's
about
no hook there. I have a great hook.
This is going to be
there is a hook. They're both armored
self-published.
heroes that shoot that. Well, one's got lasers and the other one's got fire swords that come out of his gauntlets. There's something there. I don't need it to be incredible. I just need it to happen.
I think that Green Lantern Legion of Superheroes would be an excellent crossover.
They're in the same universe.
Why did I say that? God. I meant to say Guardians of the Galaxy, and somehow Green Lantern came out of my head. But no, I think Guardians of the Galaxy, Legion of Superheroes would be a really cool, throw there. Whether you want to do the future version of Guardians of the Galaxy, or whether you want to do, the Peter Quill era, or a little bit of both, like you could throw that in there and make that work.
I would do the future version because it'd be two teams that no one currently knows.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true. Although there's got to be
no Legion book.
There will be soon. I'm pretty sure it's coming in one way or the other.
If Bendis couldn't launch a Legion book, I don't know who can.
Yeah. Well, all right. Let's get going on this first crossover here. Again, this is the DC branded version of this Superman Spider-Man to start us off. And it's written by a man who is very familiar with both characters, and that, of course, is the one and only Mark Waid, with gorgeous artwork by Jorge Jiménez thrown in there as well. And I think of the two main stories, this one felt the most true. Which makes sense because Wade's got history with both, and he absolutely has the pedigree to be able to pull something like this off, and he's just a huge fan of both universes. It kind of felt like a World's Finest issue where rather than Batman, it's Spider-Man as the team up character, and I think that's what really drove it home very well for this particular main story of this particular crossover. Thoughts from you guys on the first one out of the gate there, Brent?
I had a lot of fun with this one. I like the fact that they just know everything about each other. Like they're already friends. There's no setup. We're here, we're in it. And it's interesting too, like both of these crossovers, not just Superman, Spider-Man, Spider-Man, Superman, but Batman, Deadpool, Deadpool, Batman. Like one of them had, "We're already here, we're fine," and the other one was like, "Who are you? We're meeting for the first time."
Yeah.
Just depending on what company. So I thought that was an interesting dichotomy. But yeah, this can't get any better than this spread.
Oh my God.
Like the third page here where they're just flying through and Jorge Jiménez has been drawing Batman forever, but it's so nice to see him drawing Superman again after his Justice League run with Snyder.
Mm-hmm.
He does a great job, and his Spider-Man is really, really good.
Yeah. No, definitely the case. And I think that really what works for this is that in my head now, this is like Earth, if you want to call it, well, we could just call it Earth 2026, because it's now taking place in this world. Like somewhere out there is a world where these characters coexist, where Marvel and DC characters coexist, and those are the stories being told in this particular crossover. It is not amalgam. It could be the JLA Avengers combined universe if you want to go there. That somehow that created a world or whatever. But yeah, this makes sense as it stands in this particular story. Sean, your thoughts on the initial story here?
I love when they focus on character development for the villains as much as they do the heroes. I thought they did a really good job with Dr. Octopus in this, and bringing in tiny details of the universe, where things like Will Magnus is brought in as a reference in this. The fact that we're already playing off of the inferiority complex that is Dr. Octopus, which plays heavily into the story, but we are using characters and references from both universes organically, where it feels like they've just been merged forever.
Yeah.
And it was done in such a cool way. But I loved following the villains as much as I loved following the heroes, which I think always makes for a good story, instead of them just being a splash feast as far as this is a foil for the reason why Superman and Spider-Man are teamed up. No, there's something really going on with these villains in the story that's interesting and compelling. Well, and I think that was really good. They gave us enough pages with this. You mentioned the page length of these books.
Yeah.
When you give us a full comic book issue worth with these two as a crossover, you needed this story to give us that kind of depth with the villains. I needed something of substance. Yeah. And I felt I felt Mark Waid, as usual, did a great job with villain development as much as he did the heroes.
I would be interested to talk to Mark Waid about, did you create a history behind this? Because you have Superman punching Doc Ock towards the end of the issue, and he's like, "Clark Kent wrote an article about you years ago calling you brilliant, another Einstein." Mark Waid, what's your history behind Clark Kent and Doc Ock? He would just go.
I was gonna bring it up, but if I remember right, the original Superman Spider-Man, the story is that it is one world. It's not DC crossing over with Marvel. It's just a shared Earth.
Right.
And I think, if I remember right, Clark is visiting New York. It's been a while since I've read the original.
Yeah.
And so I kind of got the feeling that Mark was paying homage to that, because of course Mark would do that, because he knows every little bit of DC history. And if he's forgotten anything, then it's not continuity anyway. So it doesn't matter, because Mark is the arbiter of everything.
So same thing happened in the Teen Titans X-Men crossover, if I remember correctly, too. It wasn't like the worlds were somehow like one was coming to the other. It's just they both happen to coexist in that particular reality.
Right. It's just Superman went to New York and just happened to miss the Avengers and Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four and Daredevil and the Punisher and the other 87 heroes that are in New York City.
Well, I also thought that the choice of villains for this one in particular, using Brainiac and Doc Ock for this, not only did it work great for the story, but they're two of the most compelling villains, and I could easily see adventures happening where either of these villains took on either of the characters, quite frankly, because Doc Ock is a brilliant mind who could easily wind up messing with Superman in one way or the other. You see it in this, like, using synthesized kryptonite to take out Superman the way that he does. Also, utilizing the Wi-Fi bandwidth stuff in this, which was more Brainiac than him, but still being able to do that, like. He could easily be a foil for him, even if he is just a human. He's a enhanced human in intellect and with the octopus arms. And Brainiac, I could see him being fascinated with Spider-Man in some ways, especially if you bring in like the JMS lore of it all and like the spider totem and stuff like that. That would make it even more complicated and perhaps have even further fascination from the mind of Brainiac involved with him. So yeah, I think that was an excellent choice by Waid to bring these two villains into this story and have them, take on these two characters like this.
Yeah, I was thinking actually, it's interesting because Peter's got that scientist, but even Peter in this issue references that he's a scientist.
Mm-hmm.
So that is the connection for him and Brainiac. But I like the use of Doc Ock because he is sort of the other side of the Lex Luthor coin, right? Because Lex is arrogant to a fault. He is the smartest man in the world. He's the richest man in the world. Everyone is beneath him. But this one freaking alien with his powers is beloved, and he's just wow, dare. Whereas Doc Ock is like, I'm smarter than him, even though no one appreciates my genius. Like they're both really, really smart. And both really, really good at what they do, but one believes he's better than everyone, and the other one thinks he's better than everyone, even if no one believes him. And it was such a cool dynamic to see between him and Brainiac, because Brainiac and Luthor, that's a crossover that's been happening forever. But Brainiac and Doc Ock, it's a new. There's something Brainiac there that can do with Doc Ock that he can't do with Luthor, which is manipulate his insecurities.
That's true. Yeah.
I know Superman has kryptonite, but I didn't realize that Spider-Man's kryptonite was giant piles of rubble.
Oh yeah,
it has been for years.
It appears in both these issues.
Yeah, since the last issue drawn by Ditko, which I own.
There you go. Yeah.
Well, I know it's a reference to that one moment in that issue, but like dang.
Oh, he's done it in one of the anniversary issues, the multicolored with the foil covers. I forget which one.
I'm sure it shows up at least every 5 years.
He pushed up in Central all by himself.
I know.
Yeah, that's his thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool in this because we get to see between the two books. We get to see Superman and Spider-Man both have those moments where they've got to overcome something that's beyond them. Put themselves in real, like Superman in this one, he needs Spider-Man to web him up a little bit so he can go in because he's depowered because of the synthetic kryptonite. And we get to see that. We do get to see that with Peter. It's one of the things I love about Spider-Man, I think, is the fact that he isn't Superman. He's not invincible. He has really cool powers, and he has the relatability and the sense of humor, and he feels like a real guy. We get to see him overcome things that he shouldn't be able to. When the odds are against him. We get to see Superman have some of those moments in this, which is more of a Spider-Man thing, and it was kind of cool to see Superman have kind of a Spider-Man moment in this. I do like when we get to see Superman slightly depowered every so often and get to see that he's still got that strength of character in those pieces. These two play off each other really, really well. The writing talent, obviously, it's Mark Waid. He gets the characters, but really understands how these two should interact. Even the little quip about, I don't think you'd be this impatient with Batman and stuff like that, I liked the familiarity between them versus starting at ground zero. I think that was a good choice in this one.
And especially this panel that I have up on the screen right now, the image of flame retardant Superman covered in Spider-Man webbing because his powers are failing him, and we want to make sure that he doesn't get burnt to a crisp. It's so beautifully rendered and so out there that it just absolutely works with the story. I love that moment so much.
Somebody needs to make that into an AI action figure. because we'll never actually get the real action figure, but like on
Yeah.
Instagram, you see it like in a superpowers box, flame
Yeah.
retardant Superman. I want to see it all wrapped up like that. It's I'd buy it if they did
Super
it,
mummy.
but I'd be one of three.
Yeah.
But I would buy that action figure just because it would be such a weird conversation.
Oh, tell me about it. Yeah, it's like why is Superman a mummy? Well, funny story. And you know the central conflict itself. Brainiac is the type of villain that will absolutely not care whatsoever about a populace, even though for years he's tried to say that he's preserving populations by shrinking them down and keeping them inside of his database and stuff like that. At the same time, when given a situation where he himself is in trouble, he will almost always throw that off on somebody else and be like, oh, well, the resolution is to, have other people deal with it. And if they survive, great. If not, then there's other worlds out there for me to bottle up and explore. That's the type of villain he is. And we see that on display here with him, transmitting the virus out of him and into the populace of the world, and them slowly, losing themselves to zeros and ones. Absolutely the case here. Yes, I said absolutely intentionally there, Ralph. Sorry.
Tangentially. New universally.
Yep. But that was very in character there, and also talking to Dr. Octopus the way that Superman does. I know you brought that up earlier, Sean, but this is a character that's been through a lot over the years, Dr. Octopus. And if this is the same Dr. Octopus that was Superior Spider-Man at one point, in that we saw him kind of become slightly heroic, even though he himself was so pompous. And you can see here as well that he is about science more than he is about anything else. And he's about being respected, and he's about, having his talents be known, and having a populace die at the hands of another villain means no one else gets to tell him how much that he is loved. So that's not what he wants. And that's clearly on display here by the time the issue is over, is that, Doc Ock does actually care to a point, even if it's only for his own benefit. So that worked great for that character as well. Anything else about this particular story, main story here that you folks want to bring up? Brent? All right. Well, one other comment that I need to make is the artwork itself, and that's Jorge Jiménez's artwork, which is, he has really become one of my favorite artists in the biz, and it is on display in spades in this main story. That he, every single thing that he puts to the page, it's kinetic, and it's got this fun factor to it. You just can't wait to read the next page and see what he's going to draw next. And it's lovingly rendered throughout. I think his characterization of each of the characters in this particular story is just great. And the expressions on everyone's faces, it really just works so wonderfully with what's there, and you couldn't have picked a better artist for this. You really couldn't have.
I want to shout out the brilliance of Mark Waid in this one more time.
Mm-hmm.
Closing bit with Clark and Peter, where Clark asks him the question, why would you keep working for Jameson when he's publishing stories just trashing you?
Yeah.
And I love Peter's answer. First, that was only hurting me, and second of all, you're missing the punchline. He was paying for Spider-Man to go to college. I thought that was a great sequence.
Yeah.
What a great line. And I love Clark's little touche over that piece. But it is such a Peter Parker answer.
It is.
And I thought that was just really character-driven and really well done, and something that I don't remember being touched on before. I don't know that I've read a lot of Spider-Man. I can't remember I can't pretend that I've read every single issue, but I've read a lot. I don't remember anyone ever asking the question, why do you keep working for this guy?
Yeah.
If they did, it certainly didn't come out like this, and I think this is brilliant.
Yeah, this Waid guy should write Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Funny story about that, actually. He has many times.
I was gonna say I don't remember him writing Spider-Man, but of course he was on the One More Day Brain Trust or Brand New Day Brain Trust.
Mm-hmm. And
Last I
actually,
remember.
I'm looking at he did one with James Robinson as well, the Spider-Man Family Business. That came out not too long ago. That was a full graphic novel that was released when the short time that Marvel was experimenting with doing graphic novels, and that was great too. But yeah, no, he's definitely dipped his toe into the Spider-Man world tons of times before, outside of Brand New Day and elsewhere as well. But really just couldn't have asked for a better team on this one. And I'd love to see Jorge Jiménez tackle Spider-Man again. You know, I think he's a great artist for it. So yeah, great first story in this particular issue here. From there, we have a whole bunch of short ones, some longer than others. We have Lois Lane and Mary Jane, written by Tom King with pencils by Jim Lee. And this one is just long enough for me, honestly. We get, what life is like for Mary Jane and Lois in their day-to-day being with Spider-Man and Superman, and, trading stories of how many times each one of them has died, and, the different scenarios that they've been in as this is going on, and dangling from a bridge, which is never something that Spider-Man has to deal with or should deal with after what happened to Gwen Stacy, but it happens in this, and there's also a whole another bridge thing in the other issue. So yeah, bridges in Spider-Man. It happens.
Pick the queens, pal.
Yep. But this is also the issue. This is the story where we get Gambit involved as well, unexpectedly, as why is this Sentinel dealing with Spider-Man and Superman? It's because Gambit happens to be on that bridge too, and by the end of the issue, Lois has a deck of cards that she's able to hand Gambit, and by then we get this great, probably I think my favorite bit of artwork that Jim Lee has drawn in this, and it's a little bit of an homage to himself, I feel like. With Gambit throwing the cards on the bridge there. I thought that was beautifully rendered in this particular story here. What were you guys' take on the Lois Lane Mary Jane story, Raph?
I really like this one. It was a lot of fun. You get a lot of, not that it's okay, not like Lois and Mary Jane haven't had their screen time, so to speak, in comics. They definitely have, but it's nice to see the contrast, right? Because Lois is a reporter who throws herself into dangerous stories and places all the time, whereas Mary Jane is not. That's not her life.
No.
But she ends up there anyway because of her association with Peter, and the contrast between the two, but like also at the same time they share a lot in common. They're one and a half of them have been married, like, depending on what continuity is now.
Yeah,
and so like you get the dynamics of the spouse of the hero, but also like this is what I've done, and this is what, and it's all like it seems competitive, but it's all very playful, and it's very like, oh, you did this, oh, I've died 3 times, oh, you died 3 times, I've died 3, and so it's like a sort of like a fun back and forth. Meanwhile, like this gigantic killer robot is like wreaking havoc, and they're just having a nice conversation. It reminds me of Tom King's issues of Batman where Superman would show up. I love those. Those are some of my favorite issues of Batman. Yeah, is them contrasting between each other to their significant others, and then and so we have that here, but except it's reversed, and it's just nice to explore this because you can't do this really with Mary Jane or Lois Lane, right? Like there's no other like husband or wife in the Marvel DC universe that those two know that they can go, oh yeah, well this happened, oh yeah, that happened to me too. There's none. They can't really, not really. There's not really a lot of characters that do that. So it's nice to see that kind of dynamic, which is pretty rare in Marvel or DC.
That's true. Yeah, Sean.
Basic Tiger, you hit the jackpot. I loved when she was ranting about that. How many universes is this going to be my identity? I did this when I was 19. I loved that. I just thought it was like it made her feel very real.
Yeah.
As far as that piece goes, because we've seen them do a lot of storytelling. I geeked out at the fastball special and the Gambit homage because of the fact that, Lee was such an integral part of the creation of Gambit.
Yeah.
So, and this is example of they're having fun. And I feel like certain stories in here were meant to be fun, and I liked having a good time with them. I think it helped that we had a meaty story at the beginning.
Yeah.
Now we have a bunch of these short stories where they're, to varying degrees, they're just having a good time. But that bit when they were ranting about the dimensional portals and, they're the worst. I love that kind of stuff. I feel like they're talking to, like we're hanging with them because this is geek out stuff we would be saying too. And I felt like that made them feel a lot more three-dimensional.
It's funny. I just went back and read the beginning of Astro City again, and talking about the dimensional portals and stuff like that. I am reminded of how much of a kind of daily occurrence that can be for people in a superhero world. You could be on your way to work and accidentally wind up in Dimension Q and stuck there for a solid week and a half until the heroes get you back. And then you got to try to explain to your significant other where the heck you were for the last week and a half. It's like, no, I was in Dimension Q, I swear. And no one's going to believe you, but what happened. And that's the way it goes. That's the shared history that Lois and Mary Jane get to experience because they're in this superhero world and they have a superhero significant other. And this shit happens a lot.
It's like, so what's the reason for excused absence today? Alien invasion. Oh, you mean the one on 14th Street? Yeah, okay, yeah, you're right. That was on your way here. Okay, you're excused. It's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yep. Brent, I know you're kind of hot and cold on Mr. King. So what'd you think about it this time?
Yeah, nothing against Tom King here. I'm more curious about the premise of this set of crossovers versus the last one. So Batman, Deadpool, you had Batman, Deadpool, Deadpool, Batman in the first story. And then every story after that was like random character with random character who kind of fits. We explored the universe of it. And these two are so much more focused on the family of characters that you have Lois Lane, Mary Jane, Superman Prime, Amazing Spider-Man, Superboy, Spider-Man 2099, Jimmy Olsen, Carnage, Jonathan Kent, Ben Parker. And then you get Punisher, Power Girl at the end, and it's like, okay, here's your random one. So for me, I missed the randomness of the first set of crossovers last year. Reading this one, like, there's nothing wrong with it. It's got some great moments. I think this is the first time Jim Lee's drawn good comics in 2 years since he started working with Jeff Loeb again. I don't know what it is. It just feels less flat to me. Like, for whatever reason, his Hutush.
Oh, you Hatush, Brent.
So they feel so flat. And maybe it's just because he's energized, because it's something cool and it's going to stand the test of time, whatever. But it felt like real again, like good Jim Lee artwork has been in the past. But yeah, to me, it just reads like an excuse to draw Gambit. And, we wanted a conversation with Lois Lane and Mary Jane, but we had to make it interesting somehow. And to me, it would have been maybe more interesting for them to be talking amidst the background of two other characters, not their husbands, and then have Gambit in there, and be like, oh, well, this is, my husband deals with this stuff all the time. And then commentating on other things. But instead, we get another Superman, Spider-Man story, followed by another and another and another. And it none of these I absolutely hated, maybe except for the 2099 one, but it just kind of got monotonous for me at that point. I was looking for more variety for my $8.
Well, for what it's worth, I mean, Batman has a gigantic family, but Deadpool is the definition of a random character. He doesn't officially belong anywhere. So that kind of made sense. But like the Superman and Spider-Man like extended family they're both huge. Yeah. So
right, but they don't use them.
Well,
Spider-Man is in here more often. They have a little bit of Ghost Spider in the next one, but you don't see Aranya. You don't see a bunch of. There's Miles Morales in both of them, but like the Spider-Man group that's in the Spider-Versity title right now is not like they're not all in here. So I hear your point, Raph, but I disagree.
No, I get what you're saying because I honestly I think it's just a matter of like the writers chose who they wanted to use. The creative teams chose who they wanted, and it just happened to not be any of the characters you're thinking of. I mean, King and Kong's missing.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, then again, Gene Lin Yang didn't do anything with this, and I think if he had, then he probably would have been there. But curious your take on this, Sean. Do you feel like there should have been more variety in these backup stories, or was it what you were looking for?
So I actually liked the Deadpool Batman stuff because of its randomness too. This one, it was pretty apparent early on that they were going to be doing different takes of this one. Like, I'll give an example. The next story, because we're already heading there anyway, if you don't mind. We're talking about Superboy Prime and Peter Parker. The reason why that one needed to be Peter again versus another one, because they were playing off of the suit. You know, it's Prime is us, right? You know, he has the comics. He's like, if I'm going into Spider-Man's world, I'm with him. I want the talking suit. I want it with all the powers and the webs and things like that.
Yeah.
That's the geek out moment. I love that he's trying to talk to the doggone suit and not realizing that he's got the black suit that came after the fact. He does not have Venom in his hand. And I loved the geek out of that moment. So I thought that was a good choice. As Brent's talking about random stories, I'm like, yeah, I want those too. So I'm not disputing it because I'm like, I don't know, I'm kind of greedy. Give me all of it. But I did like the exploration. Like Superboy Prime is one of, let's use him as an example. Yeah. That's one of those characters that I do feel like I run hot and cold on. Sometimes I find him incredibly whiny and annoying. Right now, how DC's been using him now and how he's used in this, I enjoy this Superboy Prime.
I agree
think this is a really strong Superboy Prime story. But he is a character, I'll admit. When I don't like him, I don't like him. Right now, they seem to have kind of nailed the right balance of what makes Superboy Prime cool. Yeah. And I feel in this story, there's a sense of wonder and adventure with him where I actually like him with Spidey. And I liked seeing Spidey in the black costume. I liked the whole premise of this one. So this worked for me. So I don't mind the fact that we keep going back to these concepts because I enjoyed the stories in this. Where I'd feel differently if I was like, I just don't like the stories. And that doesn't, I mean, Brett and I might be in different places with that, but I enjoyed the stories in this one. I thought they were enjoyable.
I think this was my favorite short, honestly.
It was a good one.
It is a really good one. I mean, it helps when you have Chris Priest write anything. Quite frankly, you know, he's a terrific scripter, and Daniel St. Pierre on the artwork here too just really worked for what was being told. But I think. There are multiple ways that you can go with a character like Superboy Prime, and the fact that they've been leaning further into him being the comic book nerd who just happens to have Superman's powers, and in doing so with his dimension, fourth wall breaking powers, can go in and out of universes the way he does. And this one feels the most to me like this is just taking place in the Marvel universe. He just happens to break the wall into the Marvel universe, into a very specific point in Spider-Man's history. And I dig that. I really do. I think that this particular story works for that very reason. And yes, I do agree. I also would have been trying to talk to the suit. We get Venom in the next issue, but that's a whole other situation and story there that we'll get to when we get to. But I think that this particular team up too works great because you're seeing a Superboy Prime that's learned a lot since his initial appearances, long since Crisis on Infinite Earths, long since Infinite Crisis, where he even says in this, like, I tried the villain route and I'm over it. Now I'm going to do my best to try to be a hero, while all at the same time he's utilizing Peter Parker's spider sense to try to get him out of this trap that he's in, which. That's the loosest part of the story because I'm not quite sure, like, is he in the trap while he's talking to Black Suit Spider-Man, or is this also like he sent himself out there in order to try to get his main self? That was a little bit confusing to me, but it doesn't have to make entire sense because Superboy Prime doesn't really make that much sense to begin with.
It's a little meta joke that just keeps going.
but at the same time, you get High Evolutionary thrown in there for good measure, and yeah, overall, I think that works. But with main characters like Superman and Spider-Man, I knew going into this that we were going to have different creators telling whatever stories that they want to tell, whether it be with the mains or whether it be with, side characters and the mains. Like we were going to get there. And going back to what you said, Brent, the randomness exists because of the randomness of Deadpool and Batman being thrown together in a story. Like these two wouldn't have had that much history in a shared universe. Like it's not like doing Batman Captain America or Batman Daredevil, like two characters that you could easily see be on the same plane together. No, they threw it together because it's so insane that it just might work. And then you're allowed to do more stuff in the universe because there's no real family history or even other stories that can really be told by other creators with that. It's like, no, move on to other ones and explore the universe a little bit.
I will say there is a bit of a missed opportunity with Crypto and Spider-Ham. Or this would be my favorite, a Superman Spider-Man team up, but they're both from 1997. So it's Spider-Man in one of his 4 Identity Crisis outfits, and it's Electric Blue Superman.
Oh God!
It's on Electro, and I don't know, Dominus or something.
Crypto and Spider-Ham feels like it's dueling banjos with Aquaman and Jeff.
Yeah, that's a missed opportunity.
It feels like Sinner saying, "You think you can do something weird? Well, what about this?"
Yeah, and if
The James Cameron Spider-Man unproduced film character with the
Nicolas Cage
Superman. Yeah.
Oh my God!
Honestly, I would dig that.
I would too.
Hey, we did get Nicolas Cage. We just happened to get Spider-Man Noir. Wrong Nicolas Cage.
Yeah,
We got them both.
Yeah.
You say talk to suit. Superboy Prime is in his underwear.
Yeah.
He's trying to steal that suit. That's Peter's apartment.
No,
That's
but
true.
I think the idea is he's talking to the suit to get the suit.
Yeah. He's got his boots off. He got his chest emblem off. He's like in his underwear in his skivvies, and he's like,
"Oh yeah, he's taking the suit."
Like,
I couldn't
want the
agree
suit,
more.
dang it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's assuming it's. Yeah, he even says, "Oh, I thought this was pre Amazing Spider-Man 265, but I guess it's not."
Yeah.
That's right. I'm a couple issues late. That's right.
One of my other favorite lines in this was, but my Uncle Ben taught me, I know, with great power. Oh yeah, that too. Was gonna say, stop feeding the veggies to the dog.
I felt like in order for Venom to connect with him, he needed to be in his underwear.
Yes,
why?
Yeah, what? Because that's you.
You could I'm pretty sure, but if you've read any issues with the Venom, it can take care of all that stuff.
I haven't read all these older Spider-Man comics, but maybe in the pages, Venom always was there and left Peter in his skivvies. So he's like, in this continuity, you got to be in your skivvies to bond with the symbiote. I don't know.
Yeah. I do really like throwing in all the different panels and pages from different comic books in there as well, both from Prime's history and that of Spider-Man's for good measure. I think that is a visual I always love when they use Superboy Prime, and it works beautifully in this particular story here. For that matter, there's even a couple that I don't even really recognize. If I can zoom in here. This bottom one here, I assume that's a more recent Superboy Prime story because Is that Crisis
that's
on Three Earths?
That's a Jerry Ordway image.
Oh,
one of
okay.
the more recent ones.
Got it.
Okay, never mind.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Kind of looked Frankish to me, but I can't really make it out.
Yeah.
Super off tangent. I finally remember what my second story was for DC and Marvel.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Marvel Godzilla who's been destroying the Marvel universe, and the Marvel universe versus the DC universe and the legendary Godzilla, where it's a 3-way brawl where the Godzillas are sent to fight each other. They realize they don't have to fight each other, and then they just fight each other's universes and destroy them. Because why not? That's my crossover. I need Toho to sign off on this, and I need Marvel and DC to get on this pronto.
So Godzilla times 3, or is it Godzilla Trace?
It's yeah, basically.
Okay.
You
All
can throw-
right.
you
I want to be in the
Zilla in
room.
there.
I want to be in the room when they're having this conversation. They're like, let's look at the rich tapestry of all of our characters. I got an idea. 2 Godzillas.
Yeah, why not? Why not? Let's get Marvel Godzilla, DC Godzilla, Toei Godzilla, and one other one for good measure, all in the same room. Let's make the magic happen. Yeah, why not?
I will read it, and I want it oversized.
Yeah, I don't need to write this. I've already done the worst part. I've come up with the idea, and I've now someone else is Dan Slott, Mark Waid. Hey, you guys call me. We'll talk.
That gets the Godzilla stuff in particular that Marvel has been doing recently has been a lot. It really has been. It's been insane in all the right ways. I really
That's what I'm
appreciate
saying.
It. Yeah,
it's one of the best things they've done in recent memory, in my opinion, and so capitalize on it.
Well, and this issue, this story that Priest is telling here kind of ends on a to be continued that we'll never get, which is going along the lines of stories that'll never be told. Like we end this here with Peter off with Superboy Prime, trying to take out the High Evolutionary, and that's where it ends. Like, we don't get the resolution of the story here. I don't know if we necessarily need it, but it's a little bit of a carrot that's dangled in front of us. Like, maybe we'll get more of this at some point, or we don't have to, because this is just what this type of crossover is all about. So, moving on to Brent's least favorite, and not mine, Superboy and Spider-Man 2099. Beyond the Cobwebs of Tomorrow. This is entirely one creator on this story, and that, of course, is Sean Murphy doing the writing and the artwork for this. And it's your basic future story. Both 2099 and Superboy are out of place in time, and you're not quite sure why. And then you find out exactly where they are. That happens to be in the world of Batman Beyond, for good measure. So throwing that in there, getting your Terry McGinnis involved and your old Bruce and stuff like that, as they're trying to both deal with Alchemex and LexCorp and the potential merging of the two corporations, which would then wind up messing with both the 2099 and the 30th century in one way or the other. So that's where we're ended here. And again, kind of ending at the beginning in some ways, because the story is not told on how they resolve this, but it's the three of them teaming up on an adventure that we get to see off screen in one way or the other. It's a quickie, it's not really meant to be a lot, but it's fun to see these characters on the same page. Thoughts, Raph?
If I had read this when I was like a 10, 11, 12-year-old kid, my mind would be racing. Like, oh, what are they going to do next? Who are they going to meet? It's little like vignettes like these that are some of the most fun comics, because it's a lot. I feel like it's really cool to see Terry and Miguel and young Clark team up, but it's about like who they could face and what adventures they could have. And sometimes you want to see those play out, but sometimes you just let a kid have his imagination and let him have his fun in his own head, or her, and enjoy the possibilities of what this kind of story would look like.
I would say so too. Yeah, Brent, go ahead.
I just thought it was like, for a 4 or 5 page story, that it was a little weird to be like, all right, and we're gonna throw in Superboy, and we're gonna throw in Batman Beyond because we can, because it's future. And I was just like, okay, which team up are we having here? Because it felt like Batman Beyond gets introduced, and then it's a Batman Spider-Man 2099 story as opposed to Superboy. And even then, on the last page, they're going, oh, this is Superboy from the Legion era. And like, I think that would have been a more interesting thing of seeing the 2099 universe versus the Legion with Superboy and 2099. But instead, we have to be in Batman Beyond's universe because, reasons.
Well,
So it's just me being like, okay, what is the focus here? Like, focus in on the thing.
It's an amalgamated. So basically, it's 2099 with Terry McGinnis in it. It's a cross between the DC and the Marvel universe, except Terry is supposed to be like from 2040, I want to say, but they've just made it 2099 now. It is because Bruce Wayne is younger than all of us.
Mm-hmm.
He's 30 years old right now in 2026. So in 2099, it's theoretically possible that Terry would be active and Bruce at 90 something years old is still directing him.
Well, although no, because Miggy says he's from the year 2099 at one point, so they have gone back in time.
Oh, you're right. I did miss that part.
To Terry's era
to stop the thing.
Right.
Can I present alternate characters in here?
Yes.
Maybe you could have done Supergirl. She was with the Legion at one point in time, or just done straight up Con-El Superboy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah, but Superboy is the Legion guy since the Silver Age. So like,
right.
I'm just saying.
It
just was like, okay, here's Superman. They're like, no, it's Superboy. And I'm like, why are we having Superboy with the future guy? And then it's like, oh yeah, the Legion. I forgot about that because I'm not 55 years old. Paul Levitz.
I'm 42, and I remember all those.
I remember it as well.
I'm sorry, this stuff hasn't been in print in decades. So at this point in time, the only people that remember that era are the people that are writing these comics.
Well, but also, it's Superboy is back now in the pages of Mark Waid's comics, and it's being addressed there in different forms. The Legion themselves, I believe, have not been in it. However, we have had some future characters, and there's been some references to it. But anyway, Sean, let me get your take on this 4-pager.
I found it enjoyable. I mean, it's clearly them having fun playing with toys. But one that weirdly bothered me was the fact that Superboy knew that it was Bruce that he was hearing in the bat suit.
Oh yeah.
Why would Superboy know that was Bruce?
That's true.
He's never met him.
If you're going to Legion Superboy, he did not know Batman.
They had the Batman Beyond cartoon in the Legion universe. Watched it.
There we go.
Or this is actually that alternate reality where Bruce Wayne was also Robin. As a young kid, I think that was that John Burns where he started off as a young kid and they had adventures together when they were young, and then also adventures when they were old. That is officially my no prize, and I'm sticking to it, even though it probably is not what they were doing.
Or it's the universe where
I'll go with it.
Smallville was allowed to have Bruce Wayne and use Bruce Wayne instead of Oliver Queen.
Or actually, wait, no, I'm sorry. Or he never really was friends with him when he was a kid, but Bruce Wayne was all over the news because his parents were killed in an alley. So like,
you mean
when
parents are dead?
That's not where I was going to go with it, but thank you very much for throwing that out there. I highly appreciate it, Raph, and thank you very much for bringing us back 20 years, baby. But because he's familiar with his voice in one way or the other, he's still able to figure out, even as a grizzled old man, that this is the kid that he saw on the news when he was there, or it was a mistake. Either way. It doesn't need to make sense, baby. There's no continuity here.
That's true.
But I really like seeing these characters together. It's not the strongest of the bunch, but I wouldn't say it's my least favorite either. I don't think any of them were least favorites to me. I think there's just one or two of them that didn't work nearly as well for me. This is one of my favorites, though. R.I.P. Jimmy Olsen.
That was great.
I dug everything about this one. I can't believe they let him do it.
I mean, hey, Matt Fraction knows his way around a Jimmy Olsen story, okay? And he's done it before, so it just made absolute sense for him to write another Jimmy story here. I just wasn't expecting it to be the death of Jimmy Olsen at the hands of Carnage in an alley. But it happened.
And with an epilogue.
Yeah. Even better.
Did he die?
Yeah. I mean, according to the pages of the Daily Bugle, he died. Yeah.
It says I told you so. I don't
Yeah.
see.
Paper Morn's fallen photograph.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Paper
All right.
Mourns
It's in the
fallen
subheading. I'm
photog
looking
slash.
at the text. I'm looking
Yeah.
at like reading this text very closely, and it doesn't say like,
Yeah,
we found
Paper-
his camera next to his murdered body.
fallen photog slash Tangelo main tourist J Bart Jimmy Olsen. Jimmy Bartholomew.
Okay. Here it is. Regional hire at the blank of his death in a dead end
Uh-huh.
Greenwich Village yesterday. All right.
Yeah. Greenwich, by the way, Mister. I don't live in New York. Greenwich Village. Greenwich.
Sorry.
It's fine. There's also one in London, by the way. So it's not even just a New York thing, but it's
In that
pronounced Greenwich.
sandwich meantime?
Yes, sandwich meantime in Greenwich. A Greenwich sandwich. Exactly.
Green. It says green. Greenwich would be like one E. Get it together.
Oh man. So I didn't know how badly I wanted to see Jimmy Olsen get maimed by Carnage until I did, and you know what? He'll be fine. He'll find a way to get better. It's all right.
Cold you have to be that you're like, this has got to be the front page photo. And it's all about, I was right about Spider-Man all along.
Of course.
It's not really about Jimmy. It's all about painting this picture of, see, look what happened to Jimmy. I told you about this. It's not really this like mourning him, really. It's kind of like, I told you.
As someone who's
Which is so J. Jonah Jameson. I love
Oh yeah. Yep.
as someone who's now experiencing a lot of narcissists, J. Jonah Jameson is definitely a narcissist because he's like, I told you so. Forget about this kid that's dead, but I told you so. By the way, this isn't Spider-Man, but okay.
Well, let me also. I missed the opportunity when you said Greenwich to call you a tourist, considering that's the running gag in this. And I didn't hear a hyphen, you tourist. How many times on this show have we said how important the hyphen is to Spider-Man? Spider-Man is very, very important. Otherwise, he becomes Spider-Man DDS. And
Right, but also Batman used to have his hyphen, and Superman never did. Superman never has had a hyphen.
That's true. He's always just been Superman. So, yeah.
Superman.
Superman. Yep. Superman. That's how you pronounce it. Yeah, I looked it up, actually. It's always been Superman, and we just never
Yeah,
noticed.
it's just Doug Superman.
Yep. Artwork here also terrific. Steve Lieber did a wonderful job of rendering the quite literal carnage of this whole thing. And I love how Jimmy goes for the watch and it doesn't actually matter.
Because it's firmware updated.
We're updating. What the hell did Superman give me?
I think that's so great. Because how many
Superman
times have
gave
we
him
all
a-
been through that?
He didn't give him a watch. He gave him
all
an
that.
app.
It's great.
Here's an app for your Apple Watch.
Yeah, clearly we know that Superman just went and got a special edition Apple Watch. He went straight to Cupertino and asked for a special edition Apple Watch to hand to Jimmy. But it's a special OS that only he gets. And wrong time, man. Wrong time for
Even
firmware
it says
update.
one of a kind. Superman signal watch, the firmware updating. Like Superman's like, we'll just let it happen in the middle of the day, not when he's sleepy.
Oh my God.
He did it before he left home.
Wait, here's the thing.
Yeah.
I love that we're talking about this like Superman did this to him. Let's send it to him right now. It's like, wait, my super hearing. I want to see this.
Hey, look.
This is what Superman's most annoying friend, Jimmy Olsen, apparently. It's like,
Superman's pal in quotations. Exactly. Yeah. He only gives this to people he dislikes. Meanwhile, it's called journalism, Parker. Good old-fashioned truth-to-power journalism. This is the proudest day of my life, even more than when my big heroic son first set paws on the moon. No notes.
Yeah, beautiful.
I don't think I'm going to be able to unhear the fact that Superman did this to him.
Hey, that's our Superman connection right there. That's it.
Superman.
Hey, how many Superman as a dick comics are there on the internet? Where they've pointed out.
Wait. Super Dickory lives.
Yep, it's true. It's true. It lives in the pages of Jimmy Olsen. May he rest in peace. And then for something completely different, our sixth story here, written by Jeff Lemire, with pencils by Rafa Sandoval. I very much like saying that. Rafa Sandoval, that's the Absolute Superman artist, correct, Raf?
Absolutely.
Thank you. You're welcome for that one. But we get a great little story here about a meeting that Pa Kent and Ben Parker had in their shared pasts. Right as Superman and Spider-Man are having a story, just talking about these people that mattered to them so much in their lives, and we get to see in the panels. When Ben was just going across the country and happened to wind up in Kansas and ran into Pa in the middle of a giant storm, and they wound up helping these civilians out of harm's way and saving the day. Just because they're good people, and these are the good people that happen to raise Superman and Spider-Man and help them become the heroes that they later became. So I think it was a very down-to-earth story this may actually be my favorite of this particular bunch here, outside of Jimmy Olsen's death. But still, I really dug this. This tugged at my heartstrings in all the right ways. Thoughts from the rest of the peanut gallery on this one, Sean?
I geeked out at this. I mean, it was. Yeah. It was funny going back to Superman Returns. I know this is kind of a weird reference to pull out, but they had a Ma Kent special from that that I just thought was just incredibly well done.
Oh yeah,
and because it was a lot of this where we got some really special moments with Ma Kent. This was that kind of thing in shorter form. I just love when you take two characters like this and we get to see them. These are the foundational characters for these two guys, right? I mean, they're really, really critically important. And I thought it was a well-crafted story. I loved that it was a majority of the dialogue is really Clark and Peter talking. But we get to see these really powerful moments with them. I also thought it was really good artwork for this. I think it was
great.
It was a really grounded story. This is where I felt like I was glad after the Jimmy Olsen story, we got something that was a little bit of a different flavor. Because I thought the Jimmy Olsen story was very funny. At this point in time, you don't want to go to something with a similar tone. You want to do something like this. This was needed right here. And this was I dig these kind of stories. So this one was it was the right team and the right amount of pages, I felt like, for it. It wrapped up like at the right time and felt like something that you could put in continuity, and I would have bought into it.
I always go back to this is also one of Chris Nautis's favorite stories. Back in the Black Lantern Superman special, you brought up Ma Kent, and I always think of when she's being attacked, or the farm is being attacked by Black Lanterns, and one of them kicks Crypto, and immediately she goes into Ma Kent, protector mode. You just kicked my dog. And like that badass Ma Kent right there, those are the type of character moments that I absolutely adore. And that was also just in general a great Black Lantern issue.
Here's the problem. Now you're throwing out Black Lantern, and all I'm thinking to myself is Black Lantern Jimmy Olsen asking Superman to finally finish the doggone update. Come on. Like he's getting followed him around everywhere. Like every 3 pages, it's like Jimmy Olsen firmware.
Part of me, if there is another crossover in say like a year or two, even if it's not Spider-Man Superman, I want a follow-up of him like in Hades, trying to get himself out and back just so he can throw the watch at Superman's face. It'd be great.
Just constant references to this story, and people are like, "What are they talking about?" Like only 5 people that are going to know what they're talking about.
Twist.
Oh yeah.
The watch starts working while he's dead, and Superman immediately retrieves him from the afterlife and brings him back home.
It's probably what happened, to be honest with you.
I wanted to say, it's funny you bring up that Ma Kent thing, Sean, because 20 years ago, that is probably one of the first episodes of Raging Bullets I ever listened to.
Oh, wow.
And also 20 years ago, that was also about the time I became the one-man Superman Returns defense squad on a particular episode of Comic Timing.
Yes. And then it took you about 5 years after that to be like, yeah, it was all right.
Well, it's just, it was I have my reasons to like it, but yeah, it's not exactly
It's okay. There's people on this call who are the defense squad for different Superman movies. You're the defense squad for Superman Returns, and I'm the defense squad for No, I'm not. But Brent definitely was at the time, baby. And go back into our archive and enjoy that one right there.
Oh, don't just we don't need to go back in time.
No, we don't. But we're still comic timing. But anyway, thoughts on this particular story, Raph?
Oh, for me, yeah. I mean, yeah. We got to the core of, again, just like the Lois and Mary Jane. Like, we got to the core of who these people are, and it's a nice, it kind of. We were talking about how we don't really know what's in this universe of a combined Marvel DC, and you know what? This is it. They are building the blocks. I don't know if they'll ever pay this off, where it's like, yeah, you know what? We're creating a shared universe, and it's going to be called DC Arvel or Marcy or whatever. And this is where the universe we're both going to publish, and it's a shared universe. Metropolis exists, the Marvel New York exists, it all exists, and all of these things are canon to that universe. I don't think that's going to happen, but if we wanted to get an idea of what it was like for Spider-Man and Superman to share a universe, well, their significant others talk. Their most important, father figures in their life. They've met, and now you have all these little connections to make. Which, may be a little convenient, because why would Uncle Ben be in Kansas? But hey, you wanna fill in, you wanna show us who these people are by having them meet. Go right ahead.
And of course, like I said, we're from different worlds. Not all that different. Brent, your thoughts.
While you're making fun of me for Superboy Prime, I found where that image came from.
Oh.
It is from this page right here.
Okay.
This is what's it called? Death Metal, Dark Knight's Death Metal, The Secret Origin. And I was like,
oh, I forgot about this.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Where did he read about Superboy dying, or him dying? And it's this one.
Okay.
And here's that second page.
Uh-huh.
And if you don't remember this, here is the cover right there.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
I didn't read this because I was recovering from surgery.
There you go.
I was like, where did this happen? Because I thought it was Adventure Comics back in the day, but no, it's that one. It's more recent than that.
Nice. Congratulations. You got to share your screen. That's like
I got a no prize.
I know, yeah. Well done. Anywho, thoughts on this little one?
I think this is maybe what I was more expecting from the Lois Lane MJ one. Just kind of a shared moment between them. And then, cut to here's our heroes at the end, instead of like the excuse to draw Gambit again. But okay. I liked it.
Yeah, fair enough. Next one for me, I actually really hate saying that this is my least favorite, considering the creators on it. Greg Rucka and Nicholas Scott. This is the one that kind of felt like a bit of an also ran to me. Having a debate between J. Jonah and Lois on TV, it's great and all. The artwork's terrific. Even some of the dialogue is great. It's out of all of them, kind of the easiest to just skim through. And I mean, it might just be because we already had so much from Lois and J. Jonah in this combo already. But I don't know. It didn't nearly work for me nearly as well. But long story short, they're on a cable news show, basically having a debate on whether or not Superman and Spider-Man are actually both heroes or whether they're heroes at all. And that's kind of where the conversation goes. While the entire time Spider-Man is dangling from a ceiling, watching the entire thing go by, which was, a choice. I appreciated it, but I don't know. Overall, my least favorite of the bunch, and whether or not the rest of you think so is what I'm about to find out. So, Sean, thoughts?
I liked where they were going with this. The idea of masks, exploring, what is a mask? What is because he's citing people that Superman being one of them, where he's sitting there saying, well, he doesn't wear a mask. In the meantime, Clark Kent's standing right there with glasses on,
right?
Which was an interesting. I loved the concept of Lois defending that piece, but not being able to drop the nuggets that would blow J. Jonah's mind in the situation. So I thought it was fun for what it was exploring on the Jack Ryder show, and I liked that it explored a little more in depth J. Jonah's hatred of Spider-Man, and that it's not universal. Like he's referencing certain characters, like the Fantastic Four and the nod to Wonder Woman and to Superman that are being characters. The Captain America one was the only one that threw me off on that one because you got a guy with a mask on. I mean, I guess that known that it's Steve Rogers. Okay,
but that hasn't been known throughout all time.
Right. So no, we're saying the same thing right now with that one. I thought that was it was a puzzling choice to throw a masked character in there.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of Nicholas Scott's artwork.
Oh, same here. Yeah.
So I'm very pretty pages. I like Greg Rucka's writing. This one, I appreciated that they were trying to do something different and explore that particular piece. Obviously there's been stories on this one that I had a lot more to say on, which says something, but I'm glad this was in here because of the fact that I get to see pretty Nicholas Scott art. And I think the concept was interesting. I think it either maybe needed, I don't know if it needed a bit more, or maybe needed to be compressed a little bit to deliver the message. But that's the only piece that I would say the pacing of it maybe was thrown off a little bit. To deliver kind of a little more bang with what they were trying to do here. Yeah. But I enjoyed the idea.
And I think just to counterpoint Captain America being there, I've always felt like, and I think J. Jonah may have also said this as well, it's the full mask, the full face mask that he's always found to be cowardly. Okay. And I'm pretty sure that's been in a couple of different issues over the years. I mean, I do get it because Captain America is still like he's covering at least a little bit, but you can still see like his expression, and you can still see the man under the mask even while he's defending people. But it may just also be J. Jonah likes the giant A on his mask and America because America, but who knows?
and his comforting chin.
Yeah, that too. It is a nicely firm chin. Yeah, it is. Yeah, nice nose too. Raph, thoughts?
I liked it. I liked the back and forth between Lois and Jonah, because there are, despite what Jonah says, I mean, it's not like every masked hero has done anything dubious. I mean, has Spider-Man failed? Sure, but it's not like he's done anything dubious. I mean, Batman, I assume, exists in the shared universe. So, like, why he didn't get any guff from J. Jonah there, or the Green Lanterns or anyone else. But it's always kind of cool to see Jonah rant.
Yeah,
like just really just let it out, let everything out about why he hates Spider-Man. And for Spider-Man for Peter to be there, just like, oh, well, you're wrong, but okay. And not to mention for Clark to be there, like, Superman doesn't wear a mask. You're right, Mr. Jameson. You are absolutely right. He does not have a secret identity. You're so correct there.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't have glasses that are magic and stop you from looking at his face directly, depending on the continuity. Are they just glasses, or are they magic glasses that stop you from figuring it out? Yeah, are they hypno glasses? I hate that term. I don't want to use it, but that might be what they are. You know, we'll never know for sure. We'll never know for sure.
Nope.
You say hypno glasses, and I think of the guy from Hyde Street with the spiral eyes.
I just think of the Hypnotoad from Futurama, like all glory to the hypno glasses. Like, no, we love Clark Kent. He's our favorite person. He can't possibly be that man with the giant S and the spit curl. No, he just looks like him a lot. Brent, thoughts?
Yeah, you get 5 pages in this. What you decide to do? Like that.
See, I always loved you're more biting about it than I am, man. You know, like I always felt like I always felt redeeming about it.
Who's the editors on this thing? Like you got a Spider-Man moment, you got a Manny Superman moments, you got Manny Spider-Man moments. Okay, we're gonna go the supporting cast. All right, we got Jameson. All right, what about Lois? Lois has a moment. Yeah, we got a whole Jim Lee's drawing the Lois moment. Okay, cool. Who else we got? Can't think of any other Superman supporting characters we can use. Like, come on, there's a million of them.
Yeah.
Can throw John Kent in here, anything like that, and J. Jonah Jameson could go on a rant about how he's too young to be a superhero or something like that. Come on.
Or how about Perry White? Perry White versus Jameson. Yeah. That would have been interesting.
Ooh, now that you say that, I wish that was the case. Yeah.
It just feels like both these characters had their moment in this book already, and this is I don't know why they said yes to this. It would have been more interesting had we had Jack Ryder turn into the Creeper in the middle of his rant.
The one piece that I'll say where Perry White doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I did enjoy about this story was the fact that we as the readers are kind of more running along with Lois, where we know what she does.
That's true.
Whereas with Perry White wouldn't know that Clark is Superman.
Yeah.
When she walks out with him and she's like, should I break it to him? And they have that cute little moment. I do like stories where I feel like I'm Team Lois because she's kind of winking to us and we know what Lois does about the situation. And that part I will say I found charming about this was that, like, okay, James got it going on in his little rant, and we all know here's where you're insane. In the room with you is a guy with glasses on right now that you don't realize is Superman.
Yeah.
And we're supposed to be feeling that. And that part I felt didn't work.
Yeah, and I will also add to that this story does at least give me a little bit of what I loved about the most recent Superman movie. You know, the scene where Lois sits down and has her interview with Superman on the couch, and things get go awry quickly. But you do get a little bit of that Lois in this. You get the Lois that is willing to go to the point of something, whether or not it is going to hurt the feelings of the person in the room or not, because she is a journalist, and that's what she focuses on first is getting to the point. And she can do that when she knows very damn well that Superman does have his mask. J. Jonah just doesn't know about it. So we do get a little bit of that Lois here, and that is something that I definitely did appreciate. And of course the end there of should I break it to him? Not in your life. Maybe it's the glasses. But then the final story of this particular one shot is the type of story that Brent was looking for, something a little bit more random. However, still characters associated with the overall Spider-Man, Superman universe, as Punisher's first appearance did happen in Amazing Spider-Man, and he's had that that long history of appearing in different Spider-Man lore over the years. Animated series, he's going to be in the new Spider-Man movie that's coming out, so he is definitely adjacent to the Spider-Man world. And Power Girl 100% is a Superman character, but we do get a story that is definitely unique and does not involve either Clark Kent or Peter Parker, which is, kind of what you're looking for here for a final one. And most importantly, written by the one and only Gail Simone with beautiful pencils by Belen Ortega to go along with it. So because of that, Brent, I will start with you.
No complaints here. She almost killed This is MJ's ex, right? Paul Rabin.
Yes.
This is the guy that's now recently dead.
Everybody hates Paul.
Intel says he looks like he's Vandal Savage. He's like, I'm not Vandal Savage. I don't even know who that is because he's got a ponytail.
Oh man! Somewhere out there, Donovan is very, very happy that this happened. By the way,
Yeah.
just throwing that out there. Yeah.
I love the idea of like the Punisher is like, you know what? I was gonna kill all these guys, but for you, Toots, like, I'll put my guns down. We'll just have a good old fashioned fist fight. and then they're I can just picture their next part of their date being like, I'm trying to out, like my Azrael Moon Knight each other, and we're gonna out gloomify each other. My parents are dead. I lost my whole planet. My family's gone. I lost my whole planet.
I also, of course, love that even if for a short moment here, Gail Simone got to write Catman again, as he is one of the goons in the bar, in a tuxedo, no less, which is great because the image of Catman in a tuxedo with his Catman cowl as well is just no notes. Love it.
Who is the purple haired girl? I see Chameleon. I see Gentleman Ghost, Firefly, Taskmaster. Who's purple haired girl there?
Good question. Any ideas on that one, Sean? Let's see. You know what?
I feel like I should. I'm going to be disappointed. I feel like I should know.
Is she from Gail Simone Exiles or Deadpool run that we're not reading?
Oh, you know what? Actually, wait,
times?
hold on. I'm looking at the characters that are listed here. So, on the Wikipedia, it says Taskmaster, Gentleman Ghost, Chameleon, Catman, Killer Moth.
Well, that's the guy mistook for Firefly.
Moss on the left.
Yeah. And Diamondback.
Diamondback.
Diamondback. Okay. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
That makes sense. Yep.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. Which also makes sense for Gail to include Diamondback because that's one of her favorites. But yeah, it's very reminiscent of that time that the Punisher killed everybody in that bar back in the Garth Ennis days. But he stops himself from doing that and instead just punches a whole bunch of villains and it's fun times to be had. And again, the artwork here, it's zany, and I normally I would say for a Punisher story I wouldn't want that, but it works for what's being told here with Power Girl along with it. And it's also grounded when it needs to be grounded. So and even a little bit noir when it first starts off. So it works overall. Raph, thoughts?
I thought it was a lot of fun. It is probably the second weirdest story, like out there story,
yes,
after the Prime one.
Mm-hmm.
But I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with the idea that Power Girl's putting herself out there, and the Punisher's like, I'm gonna slaughter everyone. It's like, oh well, look, like it's just such a silly premise, and it maybe it doesn't work all the way because why would Power Girl need help with the villains, because most of them aren't super powered, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And so, but like still, it is like kind of cute that it's like a be cute kind of thing, and it has its charm. But yeah, kind of out there, kind of like just with a weird comment, and like they are tangentially related to Spider-Man. Like Punisher made his debut in Spider-Man, and Power Girl is like Kara Zor-El from Earth 2 at one point or something like that. So it
still is, yeah.
Right. So like it makes sense, but it's also like okay,
I also like how it is like the fifth story that has used the line "we're from different worlds" in one way or another. It's like, yes, we get it. It's a Marvel DC crossover. Thank you very much. Sean, how about you?
I love Gail Simone dialogue. I love her.
Hell yeah.
Humor. I love the way that she balances it.
Yeah.
I love when the date's going on. I mean, there's this blind date with Paul. And like I love that it's going horribly wrong. And she's got Kara saying things like, all things considered, I think I'd rather fight Darkseid. Help. I mean, I mean, everybody's been on like the date that you just wish would end.
Yeah.
No matter which side of the table you were on, you can't go through life and not be in that situation where, even if it was a date that you wanted to go well,
Yeah.
where you've been there in that situation. I loved how real that felt. I also love the fact that she's very good at, while we're doing the humor with these type of pieces, getting the grizzled Punisher in there as well. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a nice character piece. I'm glad that this fell where it did in the story, because I needed something like this. I
Yeah.
didn't know that I did, but I liked that it was wacky, it was different. It threw a couple characters that like I've never put together. But that's Gail Simone does that. That was Secret Six.
Yeah.
It was pulling characters that just like, I want this guy and I want this girl, and I'll put them in and put them together and let's see what I can do with them. And
Yeah.
where Ragdoll and stuff came from. It's this kind of wackiness. I love when she has a chance to do these kind of stories. So this one, and the artwork is gorgeous. She manages to work with some amazing artists.
She does.
This really was some very sharp art for this.
This panel in particular here, Punisher has never looked more Brock Sampson in his life.
Yeah.
And I'm all about it. Like, listen up, scum. You turn yourself over to the cops, you live. There's no second choice.
I'm looking at this trench coat and I'm thinking I would hate for Power Girl to meet Billy Butcher because they would really hit it off.
Oh my God.
That's her type.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, might want to avoid that. He's got his issues. Yeah, and most importantly, she doesn't wind up with Paul in the end, because no one should wind up with Paul.
Well, I think Paul is a secret serial killer because who picked this restaurant? It's full of supervillains, bro.
Yes.
I mean, look, he says all he did was a face space search, and came up with this. Like, maybe on the Yelp reviews that said, "Don't go here. It's nothing but supervillains." That might have been a good idea.
No, what do you mean? It just means that place has character.
I think Power Girl clocked him from outside the bar with her X-ray vision and was like, "Well, at least it's a supervillain bar. This should be interesting. Like, if this date goes bad, I can go pick a fight with one of these guys and entertain myself."
Why not? Yeah. Overall, though, I think that this was incredibly strong. And it did what you needed to do for a Marvel and DC crossover. Some of the best writers and artists in the biz on this, and that same can be said as well for the Marvel one. There's some real strong stories being told in that one as well, and we'll get to that next episode that we all get together. But any other final thoughts on this particular issue, gentlemen? Overall thoughts or anything like that? Brent, I'll start with you.
I just wish Gail Simone's writing was that good on her X-Men book.
Ooh, ouch.
So I'm going to completely disagree. I love her X-Men.
I know. I'm going to disagree on it as well, and Brent's thoroughly aware of that.
They're all waiting at my friend's comic book store, which she's very upset at me with because I haven't picked up any of them, but I'm going to get to it, I promise.
We're sure. Yeah.
Sean, if you didn't know, I've become the millennial Murdo with how much of a backlog I have. I haven't read anything. I haven't read much since 2019.
Okay, so I got to ask: do you feel the need that you've got to get to them in order? Like you can't leap ahead?
No, because at this point, I stopped halfway through the Bendis run. So I'm okay. Like, I'll finish the Bendis run whenever. I'm reading, when it comes to Superman, at least, I'm on the current Mark Waid Superboy story. The adjective-less Superman is a little bit further behind, so I have to find the starting point. I'm up to date on the Absolute Universe. And Marvel, I've read a bunch. I'm super behind on Avengers, so I'm just gonna pick all the ongoing series I'm behind on. I'm gonna pick the most recent starting point, the most recent issue 1, and go from there.
Okay. Yeah. I decided a long time ago, same way, that like I fell so far behind on some books that I'm like, I'm just gonna pick and choose my arcs. I'm just gonna read what looks good to me, and if it's modern, then great. If it's not, then also great. And just if I get the opportunity to go back in time and fill in gaps, then great. But keep myself relevant and just read some damn good comics. That's about it. That's where
I'll
am
definitely get to the older comics, especially the Superman ones. He says, clearly lying to his friends and the audience.
You will get there, okay? Even if you have to create Raph's time pop bubble thing that's not merged.
Super bubble.
Yeah, super bubble.
Super bubble.
Exactly.
Super bubble.
Wait, did you just say if you had a time machine, you'd go back in time so you could read more comics?
I
You
would.
go back in time to win the lottery, bro. Come on.
I mean, well, no. Come on.
Wait,
No.
I'm not disagreeing with you either, because I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, that sounds pretty darn
There's
good.
some great poly market bets you can go win big
Like,
on right now.
But I mean,
go
in
back in
reality, I'm thinking
time.
of all the other things we could do, and I'm like sitting here, I'm like nodding along with you. I'm going,
Yeah.
it's a pretty darn good idea.
he'd
Like,
Back in
he'd also-
time, win the lottery so you have time to read comics, so you don't have to go to work.
Yeah.
And your job becomes sitting at home and reading comics.
He'd also go back in time to the day he was going to show up at Deacon Brody's and be like, on second thought, nah.
No, that was a good one.
I know. Yeah. That's 20 years ago at this point too, man.
It's all 20 years ago. Yeah, I don't know if you remember that, Strom, but you are my gateway to all of this. Without Raging Bullets, I don't do any of this.
This is Sean's fault.
Yeah.
Definitely Sean's fault.
Yeah,
I mean, it's why I wanted him on this episode, quite frankly.
that's a heavy responsibility there. I know.
Like we, Sean was one of the first people I brought on as a guest on Geek Speak back in the day.
That was
And
great.
It was awesome, and back when I had professional radio equipment as opposed to my living room and a soundboard next to me, we met for the first time at CGS 100 back in the day, and hit it off there as well. And you're one of my oldest friends in the podcasting business, and frankly, I wouldn't have wanted anybody else on to celebrate 20 years along the way than you, and it just makes perfect sense because
But
Brent
here's the
Raph
thing.
would be here without you.
They're blaming me.
Oh yeah.
And I wouldn't have been doing this if it wasn't for Geek Speak. So they should be blaming you.
Well,
Yeah.
great. It all comes back to me. Would you look at that?
That's
Whoopity doo.
it's just so funny what happens when a kid in college has too much time in between classes and has an iPod and just decides to download a comic book podcast that's 4 hours long, breaking down Watchmen or whatever it was. I forget what it was at the time.
Yeah, it was Watchmen Part Q. That's exactly what it was. It was episode 104 Part Q. Breaking.
No,
it down.
it was definitely. I definitely remember it was episode 50, and it was some. I don't remember if it was a big event book. It was 2006, so what was it? Infinite Crisis. It was Raging Bullets episode 50, and I remember it was like part 1B, and I was like, "Oh, I'm in for that."
I called one Schwa-E.
Oh, I remember that.
So
I remember that too.
as a preview for the giant call-in show later this month or sometime in June, who knows?
Yeah.
I'm clocking everybody's appearances of like flash facts kind of thing. So I didn't do Sean and Jim independently. I lumped them together as Raging Bullets because it was easier to search for. But Sean and Jim's Raging Bullets' first appearance on the Comic Timing podcast was episode 3A.
Yep.
Back in May 17th, 2006.
See, there you go.
At that point in time, Ian was taking his cues from Raging Bullets and doing 3A, 3B, although it may have just been that crossover, but there's probably a couple of outliers out there.
At the time, we were doing A and B as an A episode would be comic reviews and a B episode would be topic. That I remember when we were doing that for the 8 seconds that we were doing that until I was like, on second thought, screw it, we'll do it all in one, and then figured it out. So yeah, that was at the time, and that was I think David Price was my co-host at the time for episode 3. So yep, it was you, me, and David for that particular episode.
It was Raging Bullets crossover, Infinite Crisis 7, 52, and 1 year later was the topic.
Yeah. Oh, and Vince B may have very well been on that episode too, if I remember correctly. If it was the Infinite Crisis one, because I think that was the big Infinite Crisis debate. Because I remember Vince was not a big fan of how it concluded, and we were on the positive side, he was on the negative side, and we kind of like went back and forth on that a little bit. So yeah, that's man, back in the day, man. Hard to freaking believe, but we'll bring it back around just for one more moment here, just to get again final thoughts on this particular issue, and then we'll wax poetic a little bit more on the fact that we're older now. So Sean, any last thoughts on this first one shot?
I'm going to steal something Brent said early on. I'm glad these happened, and I would like them to continue to happen, but I want them spaced out. I want them to be, purposeful. Mm-hmm. I think that these are things that like should happen. I think we geek out at them. I never want them to get watered down to the point where like we don't feel they're special anymore. I think what I really enjoyed about this, and I probably give them a lot of extra credit because of the fact that they're anthology issues, but they're things that like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize we were going to be getting so many of them. And it was nice to get multiple, I thought the Deadpool Batman thing was going to be one time. Then I'm like, whoa, we're getting Superman, Spider-Man on top of that. Yeah. How cool is that? I'm glad that they're playing in the sandbox again. I don't want overdone. I wouldn't mind if they like take this formula now and maybe next time do something else. Mm-hmm. Kind of, have like, don't make this like always the direction that they go.
Yeah.
But I'm glad these happened. They were fun. And I think there was something in these for everybody, which is also helpful when you do an anthology. Mm-hmm. But I would like more of them. But agree totally. Brent made I'm stealing it. Brent made the statement earlier that let's keep these spaced out a little bit so that way we don't we don't lose the special flavor of them. And yeah. I think that's an excellent point.
Yeah, they should be special. They should be something that you savor. Like it shouldn't be a potato chip. It should be a filet mignon. And that's what I want out of these type of specials. While I get comics from both Marvel and DC, I want a good crossover comic from time to time as well. And if we keep that up, then fantastic. Yep. Raph, any final thoughts?
So my idea is you do something like this for 2 years. Mm-hmm. And then on the third year, you do like a 4 to 6 issue miniseries, a crossover miniseries. I think that is a good pace. Other than that, I mean, Superman, Spider-Man as a whole, or Spider-Man, Superman, whichever one you want to talk about. Mm-hmm. My favorite character of all time and a character I like a lot. Sure. Give me more. Yeah. I liked it. I'm a really easy mark though. I mean, you give me the only thing that would have made this the perfect crossover is Electric Blue Superman. So I mean, I'm we're talking about it. It's me. That's me right there. And so yeah, I think they should keep doing this. I think it benefits both of them. That idea I had about keeping that shared universe and playing in it every now and then. Mm-hmm. And having it as a separate continuity, that would be cool. I don't think it's realistic. I don't think it's likely to happen. Yeah. But the fact that they sort of introduce that idea and keep it as they do these is pretty cool. I enjoy that. And yeah, I want to see more. Maybe we do. Maybe Brent does have a point that maybe they do a little branching out a little more next time. Maybe they do something like like a team up, like Teen Titans X-Men, and it's just like you pick different characters from different eras of the two teams, and then do short stories with them, and then the main story is like the two teams meeting up, something like that.
Yeah, I mean that could easily work. And plus, I mean, I'd love to see something from the big teams that we haven't gotten yet, like maybe something like X-Men Justice League or something like that, like we got JLA Avengers already, so obviously, or we could do something with Avengers and one of the other teams in the, JSA or something like that,
yeah. Oh, by the way,
different.
I decided to go back in the time machine. It wasn't episode 50 that this was about. It was episode 49, which got to part 7B. 7B, 7A, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2B, 2A, and 1.
Wow.
And it's because episode 50 was about Seven Soldiers Volume 1, Part 1.
Okay.
And that was September 18th, 2007.
Yowzes.
And I was already listening for
Raging Bullets, right?
Yeah. Yep. That is indeed.
I was gonna say, because that does not line up with my episode notes.
No. That is
Sounds like a Raging Bullet title.
I was talking about the crazy long, like the episode that just wouldn't tick over to the next episode number. That's always stuck. It's stuck
like
with me for 20 years.
The minutes to midnight doomsday clock.
Right. It's just like tick, 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 tick,
John
tick,
at that
tick, tick.
time just couldn't change the episode to number.
Yeah.
I was having too much fun with it.
Yeah, it was great though. It was a lot of fun.
Oh my god! Which actually reminds me, if I can find the combo of our two themes that I made for that one crossover, that I may stick that at the end of the episode in one way or the other. But two things that this crossover needed that we didn't get. One, Dan Mora, that slouch of a man that he is, couldn't get himself to draw one of these crossovers. Like, I mean, come on, let's be real.
He did the whole Grant Morrison issue.
Well, what? Doesn't matter.
That was last year.
He is a slouch. He is a slacker, and he doesn't do anything.
Work hard enough.
That's it. When you have a Superman Spider-Man issue and you can't even take the time to draw a cover. Come on, man. Let's be.
I love that was last year. What have you done for me lately?
I know. Like 94 comics. Like
that's what he's done. A short box worth of comics since then.
And the other thing that I need.
Hold on. He's got a ton of Dan Mora right behind him. I can see him.
Exactly.
I mean, I have World's Finest behind me too. Back when he was still on.
Oh my god. The other thing that we need, Axis. Okay. He is a character that is joint owned by DC and Marvel. And I remember, I think Morrison was asked why he didn't use the character of Axis during his Deadpool Batman story, and I think he said that he couldn't find a good use for him or something like that, or something along those lines. But remember that he exists, okay? Because he's a character that can only really exist in these type of crossovers, even though either publisher can use them anytime they want. But it's a perfect character to use for this thing. So come on.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Yeah.
It's been years since they were even talking. It was a very messy divorce. and Axis was the kid caught in the middle.
Well, then he should be getting his own every year. He should be getting a one shot with the prestige cover to like that's the equivalent of parents like spoiling the kid.
Yep.
He should be getting the most.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
I didn't realize that this character existed until the Omnibus came out, and I found out that there was a second miniseries.
Yes.
Of this DC versus Marvel Access. I had no idea.
He steps up to Darkseid, and Darkseid's like, "Huh, you beat me."
Well, that's also when the second amalgam books came out. Was when this particular thing happened, and then outside of JLA Avengers, there weren't any other crossovers. So like JLA Avengers was kind of the end of the era at the time, and this was a character that existed out of pure necessity for this type of thing. But he's a one and done. Like that's it, or twice and done, because neither company has used him since. So
well, he's got those 90s shoulder pads. So
you're damn right he does. All he needs is a crab mask, and he'll be 100% perfect.
Ian approved.
Ian approved. That's it. All right, this was awesome. And as I said, we will be splitting this up into 2 episodes. So the next episode that we will get together will be the Spider-Man Superman crossover that came out officially by Marvel, even though it was once again a Marvel and DC crossover. And again, Sean, thank you very much for coming on for this. Always fun to talk to you. Great
Yeah,
time.
it's always great to talk to you guys, and it's been for actually Raph. It's been I've talked to these two more recently. It's been a long time since I've had a chance to chat. So it was really nice hanging with you again.
Yeah. It's been.
Don't get me wrong, I like the other two. Just
Yeah, well, absence makes the heart grow fonder, right?
Yeah,
So
it's been 24 hours since I talked to Raph, so like, take him, please, come on, give me some peace for a couple days, come on.
Whatever. It's a Jewish guy. I see him all the time. Whatever.
I'll be seeing him in the flesh on Sunday with Jamal Eigel and our friend David going to an AEW wrestling event in Queens. So that'll be good times. Yep. But Sean, if you want to remind folks where they can find you.
RagingBullets.com. Yeah, it's we do a DC actually, and is it Jaws? So
yes,
you can find me. So
hope to eventually be on an episode of Is It Jaws. I've been on plenty of back issue episodes, but have yet to talk about a movie with you. So it'd be
you gotta come on.
Yeah, yeah. Absolutely. You're welcome for that one, Raph. For that matter, I mean, this is going to come out probably this week anyway. What's the most recent Raging Bullets episode that folks can find?
DC Legends. We're doing a multi-part. It'll be 5 or 6 parts exploring DC Legends. We're doing all the crossovers and the entire series from 1986.
Ooh.
So kind of cover to cover. We're joined by a friend of the show, Ken Nabby, and we've been tackling some of the interesting crossover issues that were a part of that one. Interesting is a strong word.
So I've heard. Yeah. I may have to dig into DC Infinite and read some of that just to read along with you, because I've heard
it's actually Legends. We're doing it in order of how it's listed in Infinite because they went in release order. So they actually have a DC Legends.
Good.
You can follow it, and all the chapters are in there, and the entire crossover is in there.
That's awesome.
So we're doing 5 issues a week.
Wow, damn. And that'll take Q episodes as well. So
they've been about 3 hours of crack. So it's
so classic Raging Bullets.
Mm-hmm. That's also what we like to call a previews episode here around Comic Timing, and that'll be next week for us. So yeah. Brent, you want to remind folks where they can find you?
YouTube.com/BKsBullets.
Excellent. And Raph?
I don't podcast except for Comic Timing, but I do spend all my weekends yapping on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Raph does stuff. I'm also on YouTube as that as well, even though I never update my YouTube, which really I should, because I play every other week. I run a D&D game called Okura on the Edge. We just did episode 17 this past Sunday, which is the longest D&D campaign I've ever run.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because the longest one is ours, and I don't remember how long that one ran.
It was a while. It was
like 12 to 13, I think.
Oh yeah.
But yeah. So that's what I do. At some point, I will resurrect the comics catch up for the Comic Timing YouTube channel. Sure. Yeah, just like I'll read all my old comics that I haven't read in the last 7 years.
You'll catch up on comics catch-up shorts when you get around to it, which is
maybe I'll do a big long form one just to go over this entire short box that's behind me.
Yeah,
that's everything I've read since New York Comic Con, which was the last time I did a short. So
I'd be happy to do a long with you, which we could then probably split into a short or four
we will,
if we need to.
Yep. Yeah, it'll be 87 parts in tribute to Sean and Jim.
Yes, clearly. Oh, and before we wrap up, just a reminder to everybody out there, speaking of BK's Bullets, if you want to hear Brent's thoughts on Astro City, please do check out his recent Astro City video. It's a excellent companion to the Review Corner episode that recently came out of Comic Timing. So do check that out, and happy that you enjoyed it, Brent, as much as we did, because Astro City is damn good comics.
Really good
Yep, absolutely.
And on that note,
I see see what you did there.
Email address for Comic Timing is comictiming@gmail.com. Facebook.com/Comic Timing is where you can find the Comic Timing fan group. Please go ahead and join in on there. We're on YouTube at youtube.com/@Comic Timing Podcast, Instagram at Comic Timing Podcast, Threads at Comic Timing Podcast, and on Bluesky as Comic Timing. So for Sean, for Brent, for Raph, I'm Ian Levenstein, reminding everybody out there that there's always time for comic book crossovers. Watish.
We missed that.